Hi, Meenu. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. So this is amazing. I'm so excited, like a child. I'm like been waiting for the live, and I know a lot of members who are joining are also very excited because you are the co-founder of the Indus Valley. We always see your advertisement. We've seen how beautiful the content is about natural wear and cookware, and the cause is so close to you know. I'm glad somebody is doing it because there was a time when this was a common scene in our kitchen, and then suddenly we've switched to plastics, and Teflon came in, and we were non-stick pans. Oh my God. And then now we have to go back, we have to like unlearn a lot of things. So before we go to all of that, thank you so much for joining in. So Madhumita here, who's joined us, is the co-founder. With her husband, she's founded the Indus Valley brand, which is they're into cast iron, all kind of natural cookware, if I'm right. It's a Chennai
Yeah.
company, and it's huge. They have over 150,000 customers right now. So we, as a lot of us, like our small business owners, would love to listen to you and learn a lot from your, how did you start? What is the brand story? How did you come up with the name? A lot more. And all these people are going to ask you questions as well. So, like, let's be fully charged and start the show.
Sure, sure. So where would you like me to start? I'm really excited to be here, and I feel I haven't done as much as what you're claiming that I have. So really humbled. So I'm open to you can lead the show and I'll follow.
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to add something introduction? I'm sure I would have missed something because it's your baby, and we all introduce our babies differently. Would you want to do an introduction?
Sure. So, one thing that I would like to add is that we're a direct-to-consumer company.
Yeah.
So, what that really brings for us is our ability to connect with our customers. So, from day one, we've always been learning, and our customers are at the core of what we do. Started with a really small idea that we need to ensure that we put a lot of thought into the kind of cookware and serveware that we use because customers are getting really conscious. They're reading labels when it comes to food. They're ensuring it's organic, it's safe, and they're getting really smart there. But I feel this is somewhere we can really, up the ante and help them choose better. So that's how it started, and we are on the journey. We have a lot of road ahead to walk towards.
Okay, so that's they're a direct to customer, as you can see, their website. You have over 200, 230 plus SKUs. I mean, when we think of cast iron, we'll start with like, okay, there's a pan, there's like a paniyaram pan, and then maybe a dosa tawa. But 230 SKUs. So what goes behind the designing and the process?
Sure. So we follow a very iterative method when it comes to our product development. The core of our product development is our customer. So the first thing that we do is since our day one, even when we were, really operating out of our house in a really small veranda, we always made our prototypes. We spoke to our customers about it. They were brutally honest, especially when it was bad. So we listened to it, we went back, we kept iterating it. So we're always open to feedback and we keep changing it as per what they need. And with respect to design, we manage it internally. All of the designs, we do it internally. And then we have a lot of manufacturers who work with us to get it done. We have excessive control over our supply chain. We're very obsessive about it because we ensure that, what reaches you is safe. But that's been our journey so far. And the core of it is keeping on listening to our customer. After we deliver, especially if you buy on our website, typically our customer care team would call up and ask you how your experience was and probably give you some tips on how to use it. Because somehow, somewhere, we've lost the wisdom that our grandmothers, grandfathers, and all of them had. So we were, being adopting you as into the family of sorts. So we do that, and we're really learning as we go. So our idea in the sense of the SKUs also comes from our serveware. Like there would be different kinds of ladles and for different purposes and things like that.
So, from what you just left. When I got the first cast iron Indus Valley skillet, I was like, I'm somebody who's always on the move, but I like to eat healthy. So the concept was very new, but I was like, am I going to maintain it properly? There's always like heating it and adding the oil and all of that. But I love the process, and it heats up very fast. Retains the heat very fast, which means my cooking time is, and it's easy to control. It's heavy, but having said that, where I was very conscious about what I was bringing to Netherlands, my cast iron pan moved with me. So that's how much, I love your products. And everybody listening, you guys should check out their website. It is not just one thing that I wanted. I wanted a lot of things from your website. So guys, go check out their website. So I'm going to tag them in stories. I think it's already in my stories, but yes, I'm going to tag them again. And where did it all start? I know that you're from Chennai and you
Yeah.
did a bit of studies in Bombay and you were volunteering, and you want to take us through your college life and education and
It feels like a decade ago because it was a decade ago. But a lot happened in all of after my education. I continued to work in Mumbai. I was married at that point, and I really love to cook. That's something that's always been constant. So that it's just the process. Sometimes the outcome failed me, especially in the early days. But you live and you learn. So in such a day, I used to use the microwave very extensively because I thought, using all four burners and other heating mechanisms was a smart way. So in such a day, I think I put in the wrong kind of plastic to heat some leftovers, and it came out like a plastic potato combo. And
all.
it made me realize, yeah, it made me realize you go to a nice store and buy good ingredients and you've lost the ball game. I'm sure everyone here is guilty of having a scratched up non-stick pan where like there's half black and half silver. We've all done it. Cross our heart, we've done it. Either because we were lazy or because,
Yeah.
I've had friends who said, I have to remove the black so it becomes fully silver.
Oh,
So somehow that logic satisfied them. So I thought, okay, let's go ahead and figure out what's happening. But living in a city like Mumbai, I wasn't able to find good products to my satisfaction. It existed, I won't lie, this is not anything new.
yeah.
But for example, if you want a non-stick pan, you can get certain top brands, in a neatly packaged box. Yeah, and you can get it on Amazon or wherever.
Terrible. Yeah.
But yeah, in this, it was in a dusty corner. No one really took up the ownership. Like I asked him what was the metal ratio. I asked him if it's safe to use. How do I use it? He's like, no, you take it home and use. So that's the level of, lack of information that was there. And online as well, everyone was questioning. So it just stuck in my mind. And somehow I felt, that I had to do something. And this was something I got into. So it was that one incident and the lack of details that led me here and started the whole journey out.
So there's already, like, everybody's talking about health. Everybody's
Mhm.
at least now people are getting a little more conscious about what we eat, and so it's also very important to kind of know what you're cooking in, everything from what's being added, your ingredients and everything. And when you look back into our old traditions, and it was already there, we probably just went the easy route. However, having said that, I'm also saying that having used it myself, it's comfortable to use and you don't need a replacement. I got a little note from Indus Valley saying that, it's, even if you try hard, you're not going to be able to destroy a cast iron pan, which is huge. So you just need that one favorite pan of yours and you're sorted for life. So, uh, I just wanted to add that part to the story. And I'm still
Sure.
curious, how did you come up with the name Indus Valley?
Sure. So there were nearly 20 names that we were spitballing, and then we obviously had to float a survey, ask friends and family. We started just, listing it on some groups in Facebook. People started to come and buy. We ran some polls there asking, what stuck. Interestingly, the trademark, wordmark rather, was available. So I was like, yeah, why not? But the reason why particularly Indus Valley is because it's considered to be a golden era when everything was going good, and it is also the era of iron and bronze. So with that in mind, we wanted to bring that little bit of nostalgia. what we believe in is the best of tradition and science. There is a lot of good that has already been done before, but in order to fit it into our modern homes, we need to tweak it a little bit and ensure, it becomes easy to use. We are not cooking in firewood, so we'd have to optimize everything according to that.
Yeah. So, Indus Valley is, so there is a little inspiration from the civilization of Indus Valley as well.
Yes.
Yes. So, okay, there are a few comments I'd like to appreciate. Monica, thank you. Monica is using it already and they're great. So that's a live testimonial for you. That's amazing. And yeah, a lot of people are saying grannies did, yeah, they know how to use it. And I still have a kadai from my grandmother's time, and trust me, it remains, very good. It's a lovely thought. Okay, thank you so much for staying with us. And you guys, if you have any questions, we've got her for half an hour, so let's take complete advantage of her time and ask all our questions. So, for me, coming from a business background where we have a group called Girl Boss Going Places, where all small business owners join, and we're all, always trying to learn or helping each other. So I am from that background. And what I really love is when I come to your page, nobody can go without clicking that follow button. Your social media team is amazing. There's always a lot of, more than, I think, more than marketing. I think that in your case, the brand requires a lot of awareness and building.
True.
So how did you tackle the whole marketing angle of such an old concept? Did you have something in mind? And does it look the same way now when you look back at your business plan and now what the outcome is? Started in 2016.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So, sure. So with respect to the marketing angle, that's one thing we've always had in-house. So whatever happens, we try, we fail, we fix it, and then we come back. We have an in-house team that we've built. Anything and everything that we do, we strongly believe in doing it as much as in-house as possible. There are wonderful people, service providers outside, whom we lean on to when it gets a little too difficult for us. But the reason why we do in-house is because it becomes somebody's full-time role. And there are wonderful people out there who are way better than me or my co-founder who can help us with that. We always hire people who are significantly talented and smarter than us in that particular work. So they always do their magic. So we have a great team behind whatever is happening. And I believe you asked about the business plan. So I think starting out, especially after your B school degree and after working in a company like Deloitte, you tend to take things a little bit more easily than what it happens in the ground real. You think all your Excel projections would come true. Yeah. So life keeps throwing challenges and curveballs. So you keep fixing, you keep pivoting. It's mostly just perseverance and ability to get up the next day with a smile and do it again, I guess. So we failed a lot along the way, but then we keep improving and learning and fixing it. Business plans, we've won many years and then we haven't won in a few. But we keep making them and we keep tweaking them to ensure, we, at the end of the day, it's all about the customer. So as long as we keep them happy, then we'll live another day.
I can see a very strong similarity because when I left my job, I was into luxury products. So we were selling high value products, and then I started a jewelry brand. I'm like, if I can sell something that expensive, I can easily sell, a small value product and business plan, everything to the T, and then boom, that's not the reality. So I keep telling everybody who's starting off new, saying that you need a business plan, but have the openness to kind of, change as things change. So like you rightly use the word pivot. I know how beautifully you've kind of adapted to the pandemic. How did that kind of come along?
Actually, I think we were a little adapted to the pandemic a year ahead. So the first 2.5 years, we used to be more offline. So my co-founder's strength, he used to be a regional sales manager in another organization. So his strength came with his offline experience. And so we started to go to these typical organic stores, kitchenware stores, supermarkets in Chennai, and we placed our products there. It gave us good growth, traction, and visibility. but the financials weren't adding up. We had to ensure that we had a lot of capital to keep growing, yeah, month on month because of credit and things like that. So we went back to the drawing board. We wanted to grow significantly faster. So online seemed like a better route. We always had a website which was very DIY by me. So we went back to it, we rebuilt it, and that's when we brought in some more experts to ensure we put in all of our eggs in there. We always sold on Amazon, but we took it more seriously. We took care of our listings. We got more professional there. So we did all of this towards the end of 2018. We fixed our business model and pivoted it to more of an online model. And that's around the same time we raised our first round of capital as well. So along with the change in model and capital, we were able to scale. So we were a little COVID ready ahead of the time because our business model was already online and most of our revenue came from our online sources. So, touchwood, we were lucky at that point. We did have our challenges, especially in the first wave during the first 2 to 3 months when everything was completely shut down. A lot of people supported us. Our customers supported us. They paid upfront waiting for their products. They were kind enough to do that. Our investors supported us. Our employees supported us. So I think we've just been, lucky in that way to ride it through.
So, again, it was, I think, the right time for you guys. And so it's also to kind of, forecast that this might be the future. And I think that kind of helped your business. I also caught on to the word investors there. So, was it like bootstrapped initially and then, how did you go about finding an investor? So a lot of people have amazing talent. Like most of my followers are aspiring entrepreneurs or they have a small business. They want to scale up, take it to the next level, also look for an investor. Or what is the route? Like what should they have in place to go that route? Or how did you kind of go that route? Did you have to do a pitch deck and, present them? And how did you kind of go that route?
Sure. So the way that we did it was obviously we've always been very, bootstrapped. For the first 3 years, we were completely bootstrapped. And there are multiple ways to go about it. It completely depends on your personal goal. Because a lot of people ask me and believe that funding is the way to go, especially because you see it a lot in news. But if you look at the statistics, it's only around 1,000 odd companies that get funded in a year. And if you remove the repeated, probably same company might keep raising every year or a couple of times in a year, then it really reduces the companies who raise funds. So I believe when there's a customer requirement and someone crazy enough to start up, then everything will eventually meet up. It depends a lot on your business model. There are some excellent businesses, but they might not be investable. So it doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it or you need not be doing it. Like, for example, if someone is running an ad agency and they're catering to clients, they could be doing really well and their clients might love them. But it might not be an investable business because if they don't feel it can be scalable and grown at a fast pace. But if the same ad agency was able to build a software or a platform where anybody could, quickly build creatives or ads or probably edit videos quickly for your videos, for your video ads or something like that, then that would probably become an investable business. So your business model has a lot to do with it, and also your personal goals, because not everyone needs to run behind unicorns. It's a very long and arduous journey, and probably not the one that is the most for everybody. It depends on your life's personal goals. But in case if this is what you want to do and if you want to go to the investor route, then definitely have a clear business plan. If you haven't registered your company as a private limited, if you have it as a partnership, get all of the paperwork clearly done. Ensure you have your MIS and all of the details on a monthly basis. It's okay if you haven't done it so far. It's better to get all of that done. I'm sure there are a lot of people who help you out there. And another thing that you need to do is you should have a very forward-looking future approach. So they are not betting on today. They're betting on you tomorrow. They're hoping that, you'll become 20x, 30x, whatever multiples that you're looking forward to do. So you need to have a plan for it. I mean, definitely would we like to be 100 times of what we were this year? Yes. But how are we going to get there? What are some steps that, will take you there? It could be your team, it could be your technology. So what kind of money, where are you going to deploy it? So these are some things that you need to do. And the startup community is one of the most approachable. You can reach out to people on LinkedIn, tell them you have this idea. Another way is to definitely network. Unfortunately, COVID is reducing some opportunities, but there are a lot of online events where you can, listen to these speakers and then reach out to them. They would typically be analysts in VCs, or they could be angels themselves.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people who are willing to listen, and it will make sense if you focus on someone who's in your business area. So let's say you are in tech and AI, it will be more helpful if you reach out to them who are more interested in tech-based investment. So definitely, the least they'll give you is feedback. So you'll understand where you are and what they're looking forward to. So when a lot of people think that you might not get enough feedback, but generally, if you're able to get a meeting with them, they'll be happy to give you feedback.
That's amazing. And I think, some of the key points is like, especially the smaller businesses that is a solopreneur doing something on their own or as a side hustle. So it's very important to kind of follow, all the, yes, you are that single person doing it, but to have all your data in place, to have your legals in place and your finances in place, getting a team. So this is something that kind of a framework is missing in most of the small businesses. So this particular, the way you put it together, shows the importance of, yes, I've been running a brand for 4 or 5 years, but it's very important to kind of have all these things in place. So that's a very interesting, takeaway for a lot of people. So we have some lovely comments. Some people want to try it. Great thought. Could you tell me more about marketing? I think we did touch upon that. How do you reach new customers? Yes, that's something we can answer. And how would you differentiate yourself from a couple of competitors? You both, okay, I don't want to mention the name. You both are equally visible and fighting to consolidate the numero uno position. And now there's another person. So how do you do that? And she's also, the same person has also said that there are, also have a lot of user-friendly reels showcasing recipes cooked in those vessels. So if you have a larger variety of, I then focus on that. So that's that's just a perspective that person is sharing. So you want
Sure.
to, yeah.
Sure. So with respect to new customers, it depends. And to be honest, it's always cost effective and easier to reach out to your existing customer. But if you're willing to build a base, think of it as a funnel. I'm sure a lot of you here, since you're in business, you'd know the AIDA funnel. So you can decide at which pace you'd like to build more awareness and at which pace you'd like to convert them. It could depend on your business model, and some of it could be cyclical in that sense. Let's say you're in clothing, you would like to build awareness a little bit ahead of the festive season, so you're able to bring them into conversion. So you would have to decide how you're going to do that. If you're offline, there are multiple other modes. If you're online, definitely Google and Facebook is the route. But you would have to decide that based on your budget and where exactly you're going to reach out to people. There is a lot of free content. With respect to competitors, I think India is a large market and there's a lot of space. And I believe our biggest competitor is Swiggy and Zomato, because if people are not going to cook and if they're going to order in, then I think we are in deeper trouble. So as long as people are cooking and enjoying a good meal with their family, I think all of us are covered. Thank you for making all of your delicious meals, and definitely if you feel that we should improve our recipes, we are happy to take that feedback.
Awesome.
We are there to do it for you.
So do you, okay, Nirupama is here saying, loving this conversation. Nidhi is here. Hi, Nidhi. We have a question which says, Nidhi says she loves Indus Valley products. That's amazing. Thanks for the online testimonial, live testimonial. Do you have a skillet which can be used in an OTG?
Yeah, so all of your skillets can be used in OTG, but I wouldn't recommend it because many of these OTGs, especially in India, come with a very thin plate. So I do not want it to, damage it. But if you're anywhere else, or if you have those OTGs that go right below your stove and can withstand a lot of weight, then you can definitely do it, and always handle it with a mitten or anything that will keep your hands safe from the heat. Other than that, you're good to go.
Yeah, so I do have, this cast iron skillet, and I've been meaning to do some, probably some meats or something on the skillet. So now going to a slightly more personal front. How does it work out? Like, working with your partner, who's your life partner as well as your business partner. I mean, it's a legit, advantage and disadvantage sometimes. And a lot of people want to do it, but I know personally a lot of people who didn't want to take that route because they wanted to probably didn't have want to have issues in the relationship with regards to, you might have different opinions or strong viewpoints in business. So how did you kind of, how's that working? Or is there any
Sure.
do's and don'ts for such an angle?
Got it. So, with respect to that, it completely depends on your personal equation and what you choose to do for your life. It is definitely not for everybody. And there is no work-life balance when it comes to entrepreneurship. It's mostly just work, irrespective of whatever size you are. You could have just started it today, but it consumes you completely. We used to have a whiteboard in our bedroom where we used to write our targets in, definitely not recommended. Then we slowly started to create spaces that were for home and for work. And over the period of time, you get to understand, where it is work and where it's personal. And that maturity is hard to get, but you develop it over time. And I'm sure this would happen with a friend or a colleague, or, you could start with a sibling, anybody, because till then they had only your best interest in mind. But right now they could go right against you and say, hey, what you're saying is not a good idea. So it will be a little difficult in the beginning, but it completely is up to you on how you want to take your work-life relationship. But anyway, in entrepreneurship, I don't think there seems to be a lot of life in the sense of what you define it. You find a lot of joy in your work.
Absolutely true. We live in
So
a 24/7.
exactly. Even if you're not like physically doing it or you're not there, your mind is generally there. Let's say you see a post, you see something like, hey, I could also do this. This is a really nice idea. So you kind of bookmark it. So you're never off. But that said, interestingly, in our case, we had very complementary skill sets and we were never alike. I do not know how we ended up getting married in the first place, but it really helped because it was more like a yin and a yang. I'm more of the doer and I like to get things done. That's how I envision things. He likes to step back and make detailed plans of everything. So I get to execute all of those plans. So that's why I'm more into the product development and operations of things. And he's more into the marketing and fundraising and finance of things.
Amazing. So we have a question from Nidhi. She says something which we touched upon. She has bought from Indus Valley, and I think the modular kitchens don't kind of support the weight. So do you have any recommendation on the storage? Also, the customers tend to kind of keep it on, do you have something like a storage idea for?
Sure. So Nidhi, that's something we're working on. We're working on some storage ideas to make your life easier.
Yeah.
And what we're also doing is trying to reduce the weight of the products, but we'll get there. We are very much aware of it. A lot of kind customers like you have highlighted it to us. Don't worry, we'll not make you work out your abs or your biceps any longer. We'll definitely work on it.
Okay, so probably I think something like a silicon sheet or something really worked for me, but
Mhm.
and they get to I think even on Amazon there are those silicon handles that you can put on your cast irons.
But that's for handling. I guess she's referring more to storage and just keeping it there because in a modular kitchen, it might not be suitable to store it as her
Oh,
feedback.
awesome. So I hope Nidhi we tried to answer that. And okay, we have something from Nirupama. How long did it take for you to break even into profits? Because she has a company and it's bootstrapped, and she's very keen to know. Yeah.
Okay, so it completely depends on your business model and profits. Technically, you can make them from day one if your variable is high and your fixed cost is low. Let's say, you're being like a trader then you can be profitable on the day one. But let's say you're going to set up a garments or a manufacturing setup, then your fixed cost will be high, where you're spending a lot of money in upfront cost of the machines and things like that. But then once you've set that up, you'll slowly be able to recover the upfront cost. Even if you take a restaurant, for example, you'd have the rental advance to pay, you'd have to pay for all of your utensils and things like that. But once you go start up and running, depending on your margins, you can recover your fixed cost as well. Completely depends on your business model. And one way I would recommend is to iteratively improve it. So let's say, let's take the example of trading. Let's say you want to trade. Maybe you can start with certain SKUs and you can keep improving with the profits that you take. If you want to do it slowly, if you have the benefit of having friends and family who are kind enough to find you, because they're the kindest in the world, to give you money without, any judgment or questions. So if you have a lot of those kind people in your circle, feel free to ask them. You can figure out, any sort of way you can pay them back or any other ways, because definitely they'll be there to help you.
So what did you start with, like as a capital and number of pieces or anything? We just want to see like it was this small and now it's this big.
Sure. If I remember correctly, I think it was under 1 lakh that I started with.
Okay.
Because after working for 2-3 years, I'm sure not all of us have a pot of gold waiting behind us. So we iteratively kept on putting in money. We started asking friends and family. As I said, they're the kindest enough to give you the money and food, shelter, clothing, or whatever else that you feel that you need to ask them for. So it completely depends, as I mentioned, on your business model. Since we are a product-based company, we were able to do it. Let's say somebody is building an app, or if they're building a software or a SaaS solution, they need to hire people. They need to, have upfront costs to build a lot of things. So in that case, probably they would have to invest upfront. So it completely depends on your business model.
So, this is keeping me, this conversation getting me all restless. So immediately after this live, I'm going to go look at my numbers and, get things in place. So this has actually been a very supercharged, conversation, and I am loving it. Any tips for entrepreneurs? Because, sometimes things are not, great for businesses at the moment. And is there any tip that you would like to give for the entrepreneur?
Sure. So really be on top of your numbers, because generally we get lost in the operations of things. So one thing that we do is we have like a weekly tracker that's sent out from different teams. Some teams even have daily trackers, and we really look at the numbers. And it could even be as simple as saying, hey, I had ordered this from my vendor. Has it reached me or not? Then you'll find out some of your vendors could be very honorable to the timeline, whereas some others might not.
Yeah.
So you can use all of this data. When it comes to marketing, you really have to see where your money is going to, if it's giving you returns. Do customers like it? Are they getting fatigue out of the content? So for each team, you need to have certain numbers that you're looking at, and you need to be on top of those numbers. And finance is really key. So you need to understand the unit economics. It's okay if you're intending to make a loss for a certain period. You need to know why you're making the loss and where that money is going to. It's especially hard when you're new to all of this, and despite of having even a business or a management degree, it's completely different when you have to do it. We tend to skimp on things like this. We tend to skimp on not having a HR or a person who's going to, get you good people. We tend to not have an accountant and we outsource it. So these things are maybe okay in the first few months, but the time you want to bring in more people, and if you want to make it more, make it grow larger, these are some things that will make your life easier and streamline things. One thing that changed the game for us is another entrepreneur said, why don't you hire interns?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people who are looking out to fill in their time before they do their higher studies, or before they're looking to, join another larger organization. They have a couple of months free and they're willing to take up that time usefully. So we were able to hire some really smart set of interns who, a lot of them we requested them to become full-time employees, and some of them are still working with us. So you bootstrap, you do with what you have, and definitely keep building and set the process, because otherwise you'll be running pillar to post to do all the basic stuff.
But from I know you're working in a very amazing company, and now it's your own company. What is the difference like? What is that thing when you go back to bed or wake up in the morning? I'm doing the right thing. What is that satisfaction that you get out of your doing your own thing?
I think the challenges that you face every day that keeps you really young and kicking, irrespective of however really cool your job is and really exciting it is. At some point, you get really good at it and you kind of get into a grind. There are few jobs that where it might not happen, but still there is some amount of mastery you can get on it, and you know what you're gonna do. And I've never been comfortable in the comfort zone, I guess. So I like this level of chaos. I do whine about it sometimes, but I really like and I thrive in it. Irrespective of how well you plan your day, there will be something that challenges you and throws you off, but you try to fix it and you move forward. So I think that challenge is what, really helps me a lot.
So are you a reader, or do you have time to watch a movie, or what is your relaxing day like?
Oh, yes. I think pre-COVID, my co-founder Jagdish and I used to watch every single movie that came. So typically, right after work, we'd go for any movie that that was playing between 7 to 9 p.m. so we can get back to work early again next morning. But right after work, and I read, but I mostly read stories and
Yeah.
fiction because it's a good escape from the world as such. But yeah, that's something that I do, and I always make time for it. I've always understood that we say we don't have time when we don't want to do something. I've said that about fitness in the past, but I've really made time for that as well.
That's amazing. So, is there something like uh, are you like a morning person, or how do you kind of manage your time? Because every time I ask somebody who's like really power packed and doing a lot of things, they turn out to be morning people. So, are you like a morning person or a night owl? When does your a lot of people in the night say the creativity works more at night, and morning more things get done. So, which one are you, or is your
I
husband?
think No, I think I'm stuck in the between. Jagdish is more of a morning person. He's up bright and early. I cannot do that. So I'm sevenish kind of a person, I guess. So I pack in a little bit of workout in the morning and the rest of the workout is done in the evening. But my core part of the day is through the day. And especially on days where there's a lot of work, even after the workout in the evening, I tend to take work. But I rarely ensure that it doesn't cross post 10:30 or 11. That's on rare days because you need to, rest. Otherwise, the next day, again, you'd start late because there's a lot of praise for hustle culture.
Yeah,
And I've done that as well.
yeah,
Hustle culture is fine in short breaks. Let's say your project is going live,
yeah.
or if you have this really big sale that's coming up, that's okay for a week or two. But if you do it for a prolonged period of time, your physical and mental health goes away, and that's not good. That really kills the fun of everything. So definitely have a good balance, especially with your food, your rest time, your exercise. So that's when I think that you can do well for your organization as well. A very sleepless entrepreneur is not a good person to work with, at least for the team.
Yeah. So how big is your team currently? Like it's a
Sure. We are, if I count the larger team, we'll be around 45 people in our
that
team.
is huge. That's amazing. So in 2016, if somebody asked you 5 years from now, that would be like now. Do you think you've taken that your expectations? Did I meet my expectations of 2016 when you started to 5 years from now?
I think that we fairly have gotten there, but as an entrepreneur, you always dream bigger. So you always, ensure that you get there soon.
So you will, because you are amazing. I love your product range. I love the branding and all the marketing activities. The cause, because it's not just you. I mean, when business is transact, get money. That's just business. But business make money as well as also attach it to a cause, because people are eating healthy. Probably when let's say 1,50,000 clients, 5 days extra if they've lived because they've eaten in a a healthy pan, that itself is a huge, success. Probably we should add that to our numbers, saying the number of days that we added to the different lives, and also to the environment, is
Definitely.
so this has really been like, opened eyes for a lot of us, guys. If you guys think that this was an amazing live, let us know in the chat. And if you want to ask her questions, give her a shout out. Go give Indus Valley a shout out. We need such brands to grow multiple folds. A lot of people should know. And so currently you are retailing through your e-commerce website as well as Amazon, or do you have any other marketplaces that you're on?
We are on almost all the marketplaces. We are on Flipkart, Snapdeal, ShopClues, Tata Click. We're there everywhere. We, have to be where our customers are and make their life easier.
Okay. And do they come back to your website and say that, I enjoyed shopping directly?
And even to reach out to us on Instagram, get any help that they might need.
And your team is very prompt and very prompt on social media as well. So that's amazing. Guys, if you guys have any question, you can ask Madhumita. You want to add something about your product range? You want to tell us what do you have and what people should, 3 things if you want to pick up and say, try out, these are my best sellers, try out these 3 products.
Sure. So definitely I will recommend the iron or cast iron range depending on what you would prefer for your cooking style or range. If you're a South Indian, go for the more cast iron dosa tawa. It'll give you really tasty dosas.
Yeah.
If you're a North Indian or more of a roti eater, go for the iron tawa.
Like,
go for the iron tawa.
And
yeah.
it shows how strong I am because I'm lifting it.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely go for the iron range, and also it becomes more of a heirloom. I'm sure a lot of you would have also begged, borrowed, and stolen your mom's pans. So that is definitely a one. And go for the ladles because it will go well with your pans and all of that. And the other is definitely your copper jugs. Avoid plastic at any cost, at least when you're at home. I understand if you're traveling and you need to, definitely go for that clean bottle of water, then that's fine. But at least when we are home, if we're able to replace our water bottles into healthier options, it's definitely good.
Okay, that's amazing. So, is there any book recommendation for, anything, even your fun books? Just want to recommend a book or a movie that you recently watched to keep the, we've learned a lot. So I think 2, 3 questions to and wrap up.
A book recommendation.
Or a movie. I mean, no pressure, but I know it's.
No, I was just thinking, which one in particular.
Joel said,
maybe, I'm sorry?
Joel says he made an omelette on the skillet today, and Nirupama has a dosa tawa and she loves it. That, yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I would recommend for anybody to read is probably I think it's by Chimamanda. I think it's We Should All Be Feminists.
Okay.
So, or you could definitely read Betty Friedan. Okay. So I think I'm more in the feminist wave right now, catching up on all of the books. I think last week I read the Bitch Manifesto. This week I'm reading Betty Friedan. So
after this, for all your book recommendation, I would love to read them first on a personal note.
Yeah, so it's just a wave, right? Sometime I'd be in the crime wave. Now it's the feminist wave that I'm riding. So it's really wonderful to know that people have fought for the right to vote and all of these things, and that's how we're here. So definitely.
Having said that, I also did read that, while growing up in a Chennai household as a woman, I'm from Kerala, I'm from Trivandrum, a much smaller town called Trivandrum, and having, from our regular normal life, how did you kind of emerge out to be this, strong, opinionated person who's running this amazing company? I know that journey was not easy. How did you kind of do that? I mean, it's amazing.
I think I never followed rules, and I mean, I was a nerd. I really loved reading. Most of my friends were from the library, so that part was set. But when it came to social norms, I was always questioning them, and I feel, in a way, my parents let me question them as well. So it's accumulation of your experiences, and you learn as you go along. And it's also the kind of people that you meet. I think I was fortunate to meet the right kind of people who were able to positively reinforce, because there are a lot of wonderful women with brilliant ideas. Sometimes I feel they're bogged down by not so supportive family and friends. So try to find your own tribe. You are not defined by, whatever the people that you're assigned with. You can build your own tribe of people. It could be friends, it could just be colleagues, acquaintances, but make your own tribe.
That's amazing. So, did you make enemies in the process?
I think disagreements, I think enemy is too big a word, but they choose to live in their world and I choose to live in mine. So that's all.
All right. But at the end of the day, when you're successful, I think everybody looks back and looks at you and say, "Oh, Madhumita is my classmate, or Madhumita is, related to me." So, uh, that's
That's the dream.
that's well, so all the very best for Indus Valley is an amazing brand. You're doing really well, and thank you so much for taking in the time, because I'm sure all of us here, I've made notes in between all this, so there's a lot of takeaway, and I've really been inspired, and thank you so much. And guys, if you want to tell us something, you want to add a note of wrapping up, please feel free to.
I'm all good. Just keep working at your business idea or your job, whatever you really like. COVID is a hard time. Find some joy out of smaller rituals and keep at it. We'll definitely overcome this, both in the sense of your business or your job or whatever it is. And keep doing well, and we often tend to compare, we tend to see, what's happening out there. And look more inward. It's a good time for you to do that. And I'm sure that we'll all come out of this really good.
All right, thank you so much. That was amazing. And guys, please follow Indus Valley, and we'll catch up again looking at your wonderful posts, and we'll follow and check out their website as well. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you.
Good
Have
night.
a nice evening. Yeah. Bye bye.